Welcome. My name is Dr. Nasolo Teddy. I am the creator and director of the HeartSmarts program at New York Presbyterian Hospital. And thank you so much for making the time to be with us this evening. I know you are extremely busy and you have limited time this evening, but we are just so grateful that you wrote this book. And I have my 2 copies here because I've just been giving them out to everybody because it's just so amazing. And so I want to definitely thank Rachel for setting this up. We have been trying to get you since December. And so it actually worked out perfectly because now this is February Heart Month. And so it was better than if we had you in December. So thank you again for being here. Would you like to give us a short synopsis about the book before we begin?
Yes. And I want to thank you because you come in the spirit of Du Bois. Du Bois told us that our Black grandmothers, grandfathers, we need to all sacrifice so that we can create this talented 10%, that we will respond to Lou Rawls's voice and send money to the Negro College Fund, that we will lift up these young, smart, bright people that will go off and then come back and use their talents to help the communities that they love. And you are symbolic of that. And I really want to thank you for bringing together over 100 people and engage in the conversation about health and using my book or whatever tools. You know, you don't have to do this. You're doing it not for profit, but you're doing it for purpose. And, you know, you are my hero, and I want to thank you for that.
Oh, thank you. We are not crying. That wasn't a plan of this call tonight, but thank you. And I received that.
And this book is so much. I think that I'm watching my mother inject herself with insulin. Mommy has 6 children. She loves them all, but she adores me. I'm her favorite child. And I watched her inject herself with insulin that day. Little did I know, as I sat in the driveway of her house and said, God, I wish I could do something for mommy. She's taking 9 pills. She's injecting herself with insulin. And I don't know a day when mommy was not in pain all the time, even when she was going to clean houses for other people in her arthritic state. She just made it happen, and she just sacrificed. And, you know, you have to be careful what you ask God for, because he will answer. And that's what happened when, as the book indicated, when I was told I was diabetic. But out of that dark place, I was not buried, I was planted. And in every page of the book, you're seeing the fruits of that harvest. And all I want is not to have you beat yourselves up and say, I'm failing, or what I could have or should have done. That is just not what this journey is about. I want you just to take the book. It may sit on your countertop. It may sit on a table, coffee table. And someone is just going to walk in one day and they're going to be told about a terrible diagnosis. And they're going to thumb through the book, and it's going to become a beacon of hope. Or you may be at a place right now where someone is telling you that you are about to go into dialysis, or you are going to be on drugs the rest of your life, that you have heart problems, which is the leading killer of Black women. Or you may be at a place where people are telling you there's nothing you can do for your health. And you may read through the book and realize that there's a lot you can do. God meant for us to be fruitful and multiply, not toxic and die. And it's not about immortality. It's not saying that you live forever, but living is not existing. It's not just waiting around to transition. It's about enjoying your grandchildren. It's about enjoying the people in your life. It's about being able to move around. And trust me when I tell you, no matter what health condition you are in, if you change your lifestyle, you are going to see improvements that you thought were unimaginable. Plain and simple. You will see changes. The person you want to be is inside you. waiting to come out. You just have to get out of its way 3 times a day: breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It is not in your DNA, it's in your dinner. And once you break free of that, you are finally saying to the history of slavery that you are now free and not bounded to those things of the past. And so I thank you for allowing me to speak with you. No matter how busy my day is, I will always take time and share with you how important it is that we save our families. Chronic diseases hijacks your life. You're no longer who you are. You're thinking about the next test, the next operation. Do I have to go to dialysis? What is my life going to be about? I want to free you from that. That's what that book is about. I'm not making $1 from that book. Every dollar is going to health ministries so we can empower our religious institutions to give us the spiritual guidance that we need. And we can pray on this, meditate on this, and finally free ourselves from the life of chronic diseases. So again, thank you so much for allowing me to come on.
Thank you. And so I just want you to know, for this group, we have dissected this book. I've read it 4 times, and I listened to the Audible, and I want to tell you, it's an amazing Audible. All Audibles are not good, but yours is excellent. And the reason I've read it so many times is because there's just so many quotables in the book and so many moments where you just have to pause and really reflect on what you're saying. I even created a discussion guide for it if you ever want to use it. So we have really read and studied this book. And there's a part where you say that there are some things you just don't accept, and bad health is one. And so that idea of accepting bad health, what do you say to the people who live in communities where all of the foods that we're talking about, the healthy fruits and vegetables, the whole grains, everything in the whole foods plant-based diet is not readily available to them? Or do they still have control?
Yes, they do. And think about it for a moment. And, I always say, we don't have any fancy shoe stores in our community. But when that sister wants that red bottom shoe, she's going to get it. When that brother wants to get his new pair of Nikes or Air Jordans that just came out, he's going to find a way. And so really it's about prioritizing our lives. I remember my son saying to me when I told him about my state, he says, Eric, Dad, when you had your BMW, you would go from service station to find the best gas to put in your car. You didn't find the best food to put in your body. And it's about prioritizing our lives. And the goal is, that's why the first thing people should do in the book is read the recipe section. Because we believe that eating a whole food, plant-based or healthy life, you have to starve yourself in enjoying the food. No, God gave us a palate for a reason. And there are affordable ways. You can get a bag of lentils and make lentil burgers, lentil stew. Find the power of seasoning. Do you know many seasonings are more powerful than the actual food that you're eating? You should, once a week, look up and Google the season. Find out the power of turmeric and why you should have it with pepper. Find out the power of ginger, cumin. These healing powers of seasoning. And when you start mixing them in your food, you're getting this amazing taste instead of thinking that salt is the only taste that you should enjoy, which is destroying our body. And even sweeteners. There's so many good sweeteners instead of cane sugar, which is poisonous to us. You have everything from a date sugar to other forms of sweet products, using apples to moisten your cakes, or I make a great bread out of flax seeds, sweet potatoes, and other mixtures inside it. Or my 3 ingredients ice cream, peanut butter, frozen bananas, cacao powder. Healthy, good. You'll say to yourself, this can't be healthy. And so don't look from a position of deficit and saying we don't have enough here. Look for a position of surplus. We will find what we want, because even in the bodegas, there's some healthy things if you look for them.
And one of the things that I really appreciate about your book, As I stated, we have been on this journey through the HeartSmarts program towards living more plant-based for some time. And so we've read other books like Eat to Live by Joel Fuhrman, and he actually joined us in November. He was our special guest then. One thing I always say, though, is it might be hard for some Black people to relate to these books because they might say, okay, well, that's an older white man and he was able to do this, or whenever they share their story. But when you shared your story about the KFC buckets and the Burger King, actually McDonald's, your quarter pounder, I thought about my days with the double Whopper with cheese. Everybody covered their ears, right? And so it was so relatable because it was real. And so then we fast forward to that moment when you and Tracy are emptying out everything in the kitchen. I want you to take us back there. And was it that easy for you? Did you ever slip up and go back? Did you guys, even in that moment, pause and cry or pause at all and say, or was it just as simple as it sounded in the book?
No, it's not simple. Because remember, food is like heroin. You know, it's an addiction. And you have to, anyone who is trying to recover from an addiction would tell you, you have to respect it. And what one must do is understand that you have to wean yourself off. If you were to put someone in a room that was hooked on heroin and side by side put someone in a room that's hooked on fried, sugary, fat food, and you take the heroin away, you take the fat food, sugar food away, I challenge you to tell me who's the heroin addict and who's the food addict. It's the same thing. And so what you do is you find your space and don't beat yourself up. You're going to have good days and bad days, but you will see that you're going to cycle out of the need of having a food that is unhealthy for you. And so I was a terrible cook. Every day, every week on Sundays, I would learn a new meal. And now I have 60 meals in my repertoire of what I can cook. And my fast meals, the meals that when I want to sit down and enjoy them. And so it's about finding your place. I would start with one meal a week, make it extremely healthy. Start with breakfast, and then next week do breakfast and lunch, and then the next week do breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and just really see how you can have culturally sensitive meals that are extremely healthy for you. And just take your time because it's a lifestyle change. It's not an instant change, and you will find your sweet spot and enjoy your meals the way you would like to enjoy them.
Okay, and there's a description in the book when you went to a family event and your mom forgot her diabetes medication, and then you kind of asked, does anybody have it? And pretty much everybody took out their diabetes medication, and it was the idea of the normalizing of disease, and you call it the black package, right? And at a certain age, we're all going to get these certain illnesses. How do we normalize wellness, and how do we start to shift that into the idea that, no, I am going to age gracefully. I'm not just going to get old, but I'm going to age well. How do we shift the idea of more wellness in our communities?
I love that. That's a great question. And it's about where we socialize and where we get our support. My fraternities, my sororities, my church groups, my various Masonic temples, my Eastern Stars, my NAACPs, all of the organizations that we come together. It's amazing. Think about it. I just gave you a list of organizations. Very few of them talk about health, lifestyle changes. They will hold health seminars about making sure you get tested for something, make sure you go to the doctor, but no one is talking about the preventive tests. And when I engaged in this conversation, the leaders, particularly in the tabloids, they ridiculed me. You know, who does he think he is talking about reversing diseases? But what we must do is start the conversation among our people. It should be a book club. Here's the book we're reading. Because we have to sneak this in some way. When I had a Thanksgiving meal with my brothers and sisters, I waited until they finished eating and they talked about how good it was and how, you know, that that mac and cheese, which was vegan cheese, was the bomb, and how they loved, the different foods that I had. And I said, by the way, that was all plant-based. See, many of us are not willing to make the adjustment because our minds are playing tricks on us, saying, if I go plant-based, then all of a sudden I'm buying into a concept. No, you're not. And so you can serve some meals at home and let people taste them, and then let them see that you can enjoy good meals and have a good, healthy diet in the process.
Okay, excellent. And we have a couple of minutes left. Everybody wants to know, how is your mom doing?
She's doing well. Mom has gone back and forth, but she's doing well. She's finding a place. Mom was 82 years old when she cycled off her insulin. She was on 9 medications and taking insulin every day, injecting herself before every meal. And so she is finding her place, and she's really settling in. And I really encourage any of you who have mothers that are going through heart disease, diabetes, other chronic diseases. We all know them because no matter who we are, someone in our family is experiencing a chronic disease. It's not possible. If you have an American diet, you're going to have an American disease. So it's not possible not to. We all know someone or people in our circle who's experiencing it. And she found her place and she's doing well. And I'm happy to say that.
Awesome. And are there any vegan restaurants that you recommend? What are your favorite places to eat? We know you love to cook at home, but when you're not.
Uptown Vegan is one of my favorites. When I'm in Harlem, I stop by and grab something on the go. And there's some amazing, great places where you can go and just grab, some great meals that are, plant-based. I like to say I'm plant-based because, sometimes people get mixed up. Oreo cookies are vegan. Let's keep that in mind. Devil dogs are vegan. So I'm a plant-based eater, and plant-based is not that I walk around with kale all the time. I just walk around with food that's made out of healthy ingredients in the process. But there's several that I like to go to. God's Love is a great one in Williamsburg, where the food is, amazing. And if you go online now, it's not difficult to find them. And there's a great app called Happy Cow, where you're able to look at all the different locations where they're located, restaurants near you. So the resources are there now where you can really find some great meals in the process.
Wonderful. And so when you become the next mayor of New York City, we would love to be included in anything that you're doing regarding health. And again, the name of the program is HeartSmarts, and we are right along with you on this movement to having more people become plant-based. And so in the 1 minute that we have left, you have 110 people on here who belong to all the churches and organizations, New York City. What do you want to tell them about your run for mayor?
Well, first, I want to make sure we team up with you so we can do some projects together. And it's really about turning around our city. Our city is dysfunctional. We create our crises. And my goal as the mayor is to stop this dysfunctionality. And at the heart of our dysfunctionality is that our unwillingness to go to the core of what our problem is. That's our Health and Hospital Corporation should give you the option. If you want to do metformin and insulin and statin, you have a right to do that. But if you want to do lifestyle medicine, reverse diseases, you should have the right and the option to do that. Our children should have an option of the educational systems that we are giving them to make sure that we can deal with the issue that 65% of Black children don't meet proficiency in school. It's unacceptable. When you look at the number of people who don't have high-speed broadband and Wi-Fi, they're Black and brown people. When you look at those who are incarcerated, 30% of them are dyslexic. We could have prevented that incarceration if we would have screened for dyslexia earlier. Archbishop Desmond Tutu has a quote that I live with. We spend a lifetime pulling people out of the river instead of going upstream and preventing them from falling in the first place. I want to take our city upstream. I want to prevent you from falling in the river of crime, homelessness, healthcare crises, lack of education, financial awareness. I want to upstream government, because if you're downstream, you know what happens? You lose some of the people. By the time they get downstream, they drown. The only way you prevent them from drowning is not allowing them to fall in the river in the first place. I'm stopping people.
On that note, Rachel says you have to go. Just want to all give you a round of applause. Thank you so much for writing this book.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. You got my vote.
If anyone,
Thank you.
if anyone has any further
Thank you.
We have